how many instruments do you play?
I play 14 instruments professionally.
Where did you get the time to learn all this?
Well, I started out playing in the school band in Mississippi when I was in the 7th grade. I started playing the tuba, and the music was very simple. It was a small rural school in Mississippi. So I learned to play all the music on the tuba, and then the next year, my band director switched me to the trombone. So I learned to play all the music on the trombone. And I was still interested in music, and the band did not present a challenge in the music. So my little brother got a cornet, and when he wasn't playing the cornet, I learned to play the cornet. Then some guys came over to my house one night, a couple of guitar players, a drummer, and a saxophone player, and they said, "We're going to start a rock and roll band. Would you like to play in it?" I pulled out my trombone, and they looked at me like I was crazy. So I said, "What's up?" And they said, "You don't have trombones in rock and roll." And that was true in 1961.
Yeah.
And I said, "Why not?" They just said, "You just don't." So from that day, I wanted to make the trombone a rock and roll instrument. But I said, what am I supposed to do? I want to be in the band. I want to meet girls. I want to hang out with the guys. And they said, "You have to play saxophone." So my best friend from high school had an alto sax and a tenor sax with him that night. And he started teaching me how to play the saxophone. And I was very motivated to play the saxophone and be in this band. So I learned to play it rather quickly. And I remember the first job we played. The guitar player leans over to me and he says, "Play a solo." And I said, "What am I supposed to play?" And he says, "Anything you want." So I started playing, and I started realizing that some notes sounded better than others. So now I'm starting to think, well, what key are we in, and what scale should I be playing? And that was the way I learned how to improvise, was on the bandstand, by trial and error.
That's unbelievable. And you toured with people like Art Blakey. How did they influence you musically?
Well, touring, I played with Gil Evans for his last 15 years of his life, and he was a big influence on me. He became my musical father. He told me many stories. He told me about music arranging. He was a big influence on me. At one point or another in his band, I played trombone, bass trombone, tuba, baritone sax, lead trumpet, electric bass. I could basically play whatever chair he needed to fill. And I also wrote arrangements for Gil Evans that were recorded, and Gil Evans got credit for the arrangements that I wrote.
Oh, thank you.
And I was not insulted. I felt this was a great compliment to say that my arrangement sounded like Gil Evans' arrangement.
What is your favorite, playing or arranging?
I just like music. I like to play, I like to arrange. It's all music in my brain. I enjoy every aspect of music.
How did you get into television work?
I moved to New York on the spur of the moment. I called up a friend and I said, "Can I crash on your floor?" And he says, "Yes." So I was going to school in Texas at the time. I gave away my car. I just checked everything I needed on the airplane, and I moved to New York just like that. Now I'm crashing on this guy's floor, and then he leaves town and leaves me a cheap apartment. So one day a friend of mine from Texas, where I went to school, Hannibal Marvin Peterson, jazz trumpet player, rhythm and blues singer, calls me up, said, "Can he come up and crash on my floor?" I said, "Sure." Marvin Peterson started playing with Rahsaan Roland Kirk, and he started playing with Gil Evans. And one night he had 2 gigs, and the gig with Gil Evans didn't pay any money. So he said, asked me if I would like to play this free job with Gil Evans. And I said yes. So I went downtown and met Gil Evans on his 60th birthday. At that night I met several people who changed the rest of my life. Dave Sanborn, Bruce Ditmas, Lou Soloff, Howard Johnson. Howard Johnson liked me because I played the tuba, and I played several different instruments. Howard Johnson played the tuba and several different instruments. So we became friends, and they asked him, a few years later, they asked him to put a horn section together for this new TV show called Saturday Night Live.
Right.
So there I appeared, and I had already at that point played and arranged with Blood, Sweat and Tears. So I showed the musical director some of my arrangements, and he made me the arrangement for the TV show.
You should write a book also.
I'm working on a book, yes sir. You are correct. I agree with you.
That's unbelievable. I've never met anybody with a range of talent like you, and I hope to see you soon again here.
I hope so. That would be my pleasure.
Thank you.